just so you know, this is silly town.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the very first episode of The Dog and the Frog. I'm your host, Figgie.
Yes, I'm your host, Jen. That's weird, right? What's it like to be hosting something? Actually, I host things all the time. That's what I do for a living. It's not weird for me at all. I don't know why I said that.
Oh no, I've genuinely never hosted anything. Well, I guess like Halloween parties, but I don't think that's the same.
I want to go to your Halloween parties. Feels like
Oh,
a thing that I would enjoy.
they're very weird. I made a Jello brain one time, and it was people tried it, but they were very put off by it because it looked a little too brain-like. So, but it was full of vodka, so it was it's a good time.
I'm sure it was fine then. I'm sure they could I'm sure they didn't complain about what it looked like after that.
Yeah. Uh,
All right.
yeah.
So I love this because this is our opportunity as like buds to just hang and chat regularly and talk about whatever the fuck we want and see who's interested in talking about this stuff with us. So I guess I'll just like share a little bit about me for anyone that doesn't know, which is might be a lot of people eventually. But hi to all of our friends that I know will listen to this first. Um, so my name is Jen, and Figgy and I met for the first time in person a couple months ago, but we've been friends for what's it like 8 months now? We're like new friends. Um,
We're going on 9 months almost.
yeah, it's weird. But it's so cool because like we talk about some of the coolest and weirdest and deepest shit that I've ever talked about with anybody. So I am originally from New Jersey, but I live in New York right now. Hopefully that will be coming to an end fairly soon, ish. Um, I have two dogs that will probably make, I don't know, some type of appearance on various episodes, whether you see them in the background or hear them yelling. Um, I work in learning and development. I'm a professional coach. I am chronically online because I'm chronically trying to engage in literally any conversation with anyone that will talk with me, hence us sitting here right now. And I also bartend
Oh,
because I, again, just constantly want to talk to people. Do you hear Harley scratching her ears in the background? No? It was funny. I thought it'd be funny.
yeah.
Okay, well, sorry, y'all.
I'm waiting for my cats to start fighting because that gets real loud.
It'll
So,
be fun. What's going on for you, Figs?
um, well, I'm currently trapped in the Midwest. Um, I wanted to be an interior designer,
You did?
but I actually have a degree in interior design.
No
Um,
way.
and I have not used it at all. I graduated school and then took about a year off because I had my third kid. And then I started working at paint store and I've just been there. And for the last like month or so, I've been seriously considering a wild career change. Um, I have no idea what the fuck I want to do. I was actually looking at flight attendant jobs the other night.
Oh, shit.
But I'm terrified of flying. I've only flown once in my life, so that's that's who I am as a person. I did actually apply to be a travel agent. Um, so want to see how that works out. Because like I love just as chaotic as I am, I do like to help plan things, and like I'm really good at like the research aspect of like planning trips and all that shit. Like that's whenever I go take trips with friends and stuff, that's always like my job is like I'm the one who finds us where we're staying or like travel and like here's the best restaurants near where we're staying and like all that kind of shit. So like I think I could be really good at that, but I don't know. I'm kind of just throwing things out there right now, just seeing if anything really catches me, but I don't know, that might change again when I get to the point where I'm also trying to move, which is depending on the state of things, might be sooner than later. Um, we'll see.
Well, I appreciate your nature for research because we wouldn't be having this conversation if not. Because I've been talking about just starting a podcast where I just babble for a while and then I just I've never did any research on where you record it or what you do with it when you're done with it or
Yeah.
how you actually um also I appreciated your research when we went to get tattooed, even though I didn't get tattooed in Colorado, did I? But you did all the research on the tattoo studios. Um so it's awesome. I'm not good at that. We're good compliments in that way.
Yeah. I
Also,
always need somebody who's like, this is the idea. Can you just do something with this? And like, I love to be the one that takes the idea and like yes, we can actually figure out a way to make this a reality. And I think until you actually, most people have taken that as like my approach is like saying that whatever their idea is like unrealistic or something. Um, so the fact that you finally became the person that took it as like, oh, you're not telling me that this won't work. You're telling me how we can make this work. And I'm super excited about that.
I just dropped something while you were talking, by the way. So that's who I am as a person. Big thing. Yeah, no, I mean because you guys listen, I've got ideas, but you have to bring them like to fruition. And I appreciate dreamers, but we need doers. And so you can't be. I don't know. I never get offended. So even if it was an idea and you were like, that idea is kind of fucking weird. Hold on a second, let's dial back. I'd be like, all right, cool. Let's make it not weird then. Whatever's gonna make it work.
Yeah.
Because I just want to. We were talking about this before we started recording, right? And I was like, why are we doing this? Why did we decide to make a podcast? And for me, it's like I said, I've always got a lot of ideas in my head. Um, and I've not always been the kind of person who would share all of my ideas. Like I'd share some things. And the last couple years, there's just been more and more people, probably since I started my coach training in 2018, more and more people, like when I share things, they're like, oh, you don't even know how I needed to hear this today. Or, I mean, someone sent me a message the other day, it like blew my mind. She was like, you make me a better person. I've never met this person. I've talked to her a bunch. She's super sweet. I know that she was in Canada when I was there, but I didn't get to meet her. Um, and that's when I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. If you have ideas and things to say, just say them because sometimes people need to hear them. And I think about all the time someone said something I needed to hear. And so for me, just putting things out there, and I know that eventually we'll talk to other people on here, and I hope that there's just like a bunch of different things that people need to hear that come out of this, even if it's just that being a chaos gremlin of a human being is okay.
Yeah.
We need those. There's one of my dogs in the background. There. I can't figure out how to point to him, but
Yeah, I don't know, I feel like the world would be a much comfortable place and like a more wholesome place for everybody to exist if we didn't feel so stifled as much. And like obviously there's some things that's like, yeah, you probably should have kept that inside. But usually that's just like the really negative, like hateful kind of stuff. It's like if you just have something that's a little bit weird to say, just say it because you're gonna find somebody that's just as weird as you. That's just like, oh hey, you're you're my flavor of weird, and I like that. And then suddenly you have a whole group chat full of 20 some people who are just the same weird little chaos gremlins that you are.
yeah, or three ADHD goblins in the basement in the ADHD dungeon whose suitcases have exploded everywhere. I
Oh
just
my
love it when
god.
you do that. That's like the best thing I've ever seen. There's three of us.
The fact that I've never been like that when I try, like I'm usually so put together when I like
No.
settle in somewhere. So the fact that I just sat down and just like unloaded everything and like I'm like sitting here laying out all my outfits on the floor, like tell me which one is better. Like that's not me. I mean
Like,
that is me, but like I just needed other people like me to bring that out, I guess.
it was funny too because I didn't even realize that you were doing it. I'm just so used to I always put my stuff in like a corner because I try to be neat, and then
Yeah.
my suitcase has exploded.
Yeah.
And like there is like underwear hanging from lamps by the time I'm done in a hotel room, and not for fun reasons, just because that's where they end up. So I've like got my little messy corner, and then I have traveled with fingers before, so I knew what to expect. So I'm like, we're in our bedroom, and I'm like, well, we're here, and I walk out, and I'm like, oh, we're here. Like, people make me here. So I don't know. It was actually really nice to not feel like I was um impeding on people either. Because the trip prior,
Yeah.
I'd been sharing a room with like Lish and CK, and I was like, oh my God, I need to not explode all over these people's things that I don't
Yeah.
know if they're a mess with. So just even just unpacking everything and being in a comfortable space, it was really cool because, like I said, we hadn't met in person and we'd been getting along chatting and chat, but you meet people in person and sometimes it's different. It was just like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have been like, yeah, I need to do a podcast with Figs before we met in person. But now
Yeah.
it's absolutely a necessity.
I'm definitely glad that it worked out like that. I don't know. I was very nervous leading up to it because like I had gotten very comfortable with you guys. But there was still that little part in my brain that's like, we're gonna meet in person and these people are absolutely not gonna like me at all. Like it's gonna be so wildly different and it's just uh it's gonna end up changing the whole dynamic of like how we interact to chat and all that stuff. And like I'm so glad that it didn't do anything but make it better. Um, because like I know my little anxiety goblin takes over sometimes and that's like the fucking worst. But
I think that's everyone though. It's so weird. We always expect people to not like us. And although I will say, my face, I do have RBF. So I am like traditionally the person that like once I talk to people, I think it's better. I think it's been better over the years. But when I was younger, it was always just like as soon as I made a new friend, not as soon as, but a couple months into the friendship, they'd be like, "Yeah, I thought you hated me when you met me," and I'm like, "I literally, why would I hate? Like, why would that even be a thing?" They're like, "Oh, you just look like you did." I'm like, "I was this way." Like, but I think I've definitely gotten goofier over the years as I've gotten lighter and like let go of certain things, and now I think like I probably lead with the goofy versus the art
yeah,
now. When I was shy, that was when people thought that I hated them. It's ironic. Just how do you make friends if you're already shy and people think you hate them?
yeah.
Somehow I
I
pulled it off.
definitely I definitely feel that. I honestly have just learned to accept that that's my face. And people are either gonna like stay scared or they're gonna talk to me and realize that I'm just a silly little freak. Um, and I've had that conversation with so many people and it's so funny every time. Like actually maybe like a month ago I had that conversation with Jason. Um, where because we were talking about like the vibes because we're supposed to be getting some new people at my job and I was just like what if they don't get my vibe the way you do because he's leaving here in like 2 weeks, like he just put his 2 weeks notice in because he's
Oh
going to
no.
flight school to be a pilot, which is sick as fuck and I'm super excited for him, but I'm also really bummed because like he he gets my freak.
Yeah. He's your
um and so I was like, what if they don't pass the vibe check or whatever? And he's just like, I don't know, I'm sure it'll be fine. Like, maybe I'll be here when they start or whatever, and like I'll be able to help read it and whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, but like, what if you misread their vibe? Because like, didn't you misread mine? And he's like, no, 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 you absolutely passed the vibe check. I just thought you were scary. And I'm like, okay. I mean, like that's good, I guess. Like I'm glad
what do I
that
do with that?
we got past that. But and I'm glad you realize now that I'm absolutely the least scary person around. It's so funny though, and like I know that the way that I look is can be kind of intimidating for people. Um, but I know that's just like a stigma that comes with being like tattooed and pierced and all
Yeah.
that stuff, and like I don't know, not forcing myself to fake smile all the time. But it's so funny every time because like I don't know, if you just talk to me for like 5 minutes, I'm gonna say some weird out of pocket shit that you absolutely realize absolutely not scary at all. Never have been scary.
That's the fucking truth. It's funny. I thought I was thinking about this, right? When I tell people like my in real life friends about like people that I met in chat and I've been I realized I've been making friends on the internet since like I was a kid.
Yeah,
Um, which it didn't take away from the way that I socialized in person, but like I just was always, I'm realizing now, gravitating toward like my people that weren't nearby. Like I have a friend named Jen who I met, I think I met her on Live Journal. Like I think she was my Live Journal friend that then transitioned into like an email AOL friend, and now she's like on my Instagram, and we have like gone to Hanson shows together. Like she's from the Hanson group. Um, but I mean, like we're talking like probably 1999 we met on the internet at a point in time when the internet we were still getting like the AOL beta CDs,
Yeah.
and it's just so funny because I think of it now, and people that are like my age now, most are fine, but there are people that are judgmental. Like, you made friends on like the internet. I'm like, I don't know. Apparently I've always been doing this.
Yeah.
Anybody that wants to talk to me, I'm going to talk to them. That's why I'm chronically online or in professions that allow me to just talk to people all day, every day, and then I'm like, hey, let's do one more thing where I can just talk to someone all the time, podcast time, like talk to someone and hear from someone.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny watching how there's like this divide of people that like really really stuck to the don't talk to people on the internet thing because they're probably trying to murder you thing versus, you know, those of us that were just like, if I get murdered, I get murdered. Let's make friends. Like,
Like whatever happens, happens.
right? Because like, you know, if you don't, I don't know. They're like I've met some weirdos online for sure, but then I've also met like the coolest, best weirdos I've ever known online. So it's just like, you know, sometimes you just gotta take that risk, and I don't know. Sometimes it works out. It's
Our whole underlying theme feels like embrace your inner freak.
yeah,
Let your freak flag fly. I said this to someone the other day. It's so funny. My friend Lauren, who hopefully you'll meet on here one day. She's awesome. But anytime I would be stressed out, she would always be like, "It's fine. Everything's fine." And I started saying that. Like I say it constantly now. It's been years since she
yeah,
first started saying it to me. And I'm telling one of my bar guests the other day who was stressed out about something. I'm like, "Listen, it's fine. Everything's fine." And she's like, "Jen, you always say that." I'm like, "I know, because you know what? It is. Because here's the reality. Whatever it is might suck right now, but it'll be fine. Because are you dead?" And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, are you dead? Are you gonna die?" She's like, "No." Like, well, then everything's fine. Because if it's not,
right,
then you're dead, and then you don't care. And she's like, "That's a weird way to say that, but I get it." And I'm
yeah,
like, "All right, well, I know it's weird, but do you feel better?" She's like, "A little. I do, actually." And I'm like, "Fine, then that's it. I'll find a less morbid way to say it,
yeah.
but it's the truth."
I think that that's a conversation that I've had a few times, kind of lately with fingers. Is like the shit might suck, but like you can't control like that part of it. So just take it as it is and kind of just flow through it. Cause like sometimes shit sucks and you can't do anything about it. But like where you're at is where you're supposed to be at that moment because it's going to lead you to where you're ultimately supposed to end up. So like just accept the suckage with the good shit and you will get through. Like
I'm gonna tell someone to accept the suckage. I can already feel it, and it's gonna go horribly wrong, but I don't
oh,
care. I'm gonna embrace that. I'm so
you gotta
sorry.
put that on a t-shirt.
Oh, that's the first piece of frog and dog and frog merch. Just accept the suckage.
Oh
I'm
god.
gonna call my friend Bobby. Bobby, I have an idea. I have a merch idea. Make this happen for me. I don't hate that. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, I'm gonna run with this in my brain. Oh, I don't remember what you were talking about. I'm so sorry I interrupted you.
No, you're good.
I feel
I
like we
think
should
I
also,
think I finished the thought, but
I feel like we should also acknowledge that Fingers is our friend's nickname, so that people don't think we're talking to Fingers. We're gonna bring a lot of weird nicknames into this conversation, and it's fine.
it's like that episode of SpongeBob where he like draws little faces on his fingers. Gang's all here.
We need to tell her about that. Oh,
Oh shit.
I heard ears flapping on your side. Who was shaking out their head over there?
Oh, it's little Basil.
Oh, what's so cute? Mine are
I
asleep.
would. Oh, he just heard me say his name. Hi, buddy. You
Okay.
good?
Are you in a hanging egg chair?
Kind of. Yeah. It's like a bullish hammock type thing, kind of.
Jealous. My egg chair's outside of my regular chair. He's snoring now?
He kind of does this weird grunty, snorty thing, but
So cute. It's so
he
cute.
he wants something. I don't know what he wants because I made sure he was like fed and watered before we started, so to avoid this actually. But
It's fine. They're like
um,
children, and your children will probably pop in at some point. Maybe not today, but
yeah.
three
Um,
children. Horrifying. My worst fear. I get other people are pregnant. Here you are keeping three alive.
it's honestly it's terrifying. People like like people always ask me like how much fun it is to be a parent and stuff, and it's just like I mean like yeah, it's super fun and like I love getting to watch these little people come into their own personalities and stuff, but like I will absolutely never lie to somebody and say that it's not one of the most terrifying things I've ever done in my life. Like not even just the act of giving birth, but like the just being a parent, especially like as a single parent, is it's so hard and it's so scary because like there's always that fear, at least maybe not for like everybody, but like for me as someone who was traumatized as a child, there's always that fear of like I can't fuck them up, so I need to like I have to be so aware of like my own shit to make sure that I don't pass that on because I'm trying so hard to like break the cycles of like all of the shit that I watched like my friends growing up go through and the shit that I went through. And even just the fact that they're so dangerous to themselves. Like, um, like it's like they're very resilient and like physically resilient and stuff, but like, my Melody, my middle one, tripped on a pine cone a couple weeks ago and fractured her wrist.
I
Like,
remember that.
so she's in a cast right now, but they're so like at certain ages they're so unaware of like spatial stuff that they just like whack everything all the time. And I think some of that's just that they inherited like my clumsiness, but the number of times in the last like 5 days since she got her hard cast put on that I've been hit with it is like she'll be just be trying to like come and give me a hug and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna have a black eye, cool. Like it's
I swear I'm not. Nothing bad's happening at home except my child is in
I'm just
cast. And
yeah,
I don't know what to do with it.
and it's yeah, it's I don't know, it's fun and it's scary, but they're honestly so fucking cool. Like I've had a few people tell me that like they're excited to be parents because they've seen my kids and like see how cool they are and stuff, and I'm just like, you gotta be careful though because they're as cool as they are because I'm their parent. Like
You're like,
and
I
not
hope
not to like not to like blow smoke up my own ass or anything, but like you know, I don't know. I've accepted the fact that I'm not as much of a loser as I thought I was for a long time. And so like, you know, I'm trying to impart some of that on the next generation. But
it's the self-awareness. You're not a loser. That's what I love
yeah.
about like everybody makes fun of. I don't even know. I'm like an elder millennial. I think you're at the end of the millennial spectrum, right? Because you're younger than me. Are you
I'm literally the
like
like the
that?
year I was born is like halfway through that year is the split between millennials and Gen Z.
You're the
So
last of the
I get a lot of shit from most millennials and they'll tell me that I'm Gen Z, but like officially I am still a millennial, so
You don't strike me as Gen Z, but also I don't think a lot of. I think I'm an immature millennial. Um, but like that's like our generation. I said this to someone the other day too. Is like the first generation that I think is like actively talking out loud about like mental health and trauma and healing and like all of my friends that are our age, like my age or your age, the ones that have kids, like their kids are so fucking cool. But I think that's why
yeah.
because I like remember kids from, I don't know, kids when I was younger and like I've not like our friends, right? Like other people's gonna be like, those kids fucking suck. Like those kids are shitty. And all the kids like I still don't want my own. It's terrifying. The other day I told a lady that I didn't want kids. I was like, no, no, it'll never be me, but congrats on like your sprinkle. And her mother was like, never say never. And I'm like, ma'am, please, I just told you never. Like just leave that alone. I promise
Right.
you don't want me
Like
to.
that's totally okay.
But everyone that had kids, like they're like little like adapted people. Like I remember
Yeah.
my friend Stephanie's 4-year-old was one of the coolest kids I had ever met, and I was like, you know what? I still don't want these, but I do want to be around my friends' kids because this is awesome.
Yeah.
And I think it's just our generation's actually actively trying to like break cycles and not continue some of the shit that, and I want to be clear, not saying everybody's parents did anything on purpose or that my parents did anything on purpose, but like they were just raised different and they did a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. And like I think I had a lot of um like ill will towards my parents growing up because I felt like they should have done so much better. But then now that I'm, you know, older and not, like I've lived a little bit more life. Like looking back, it's like I probably could have given them a lot more grace because like they were doing the best that they could at the time that they could. Like yes, they could have done better, but they didn't. So now it's my job to like heal myself and like not continue, you know, just letting shit exist how it does. Like I just I don't know. It's cool watching that shift though because I definitely think it is a lot to do with, you know, like specifically our generation because I've seen some of like the very earliest millennials who kind of maintain some of that stuff, but then like, the closer you get towards like the middle and like the younger generations, there's a lot of the I'm not fucking doing this anymore. Like we are shifting and
It's a cool trend in learning too. So like when you're developing like training and stuff, whether it's when I say learning, I mean like adult learning, you know that, but nobody else does. Um, but it's a cool trend in learning like when you're planning for incoming workforce, it's not like you don't generalize generations, right? But there are things to know about each when you're trying to craft learning experiences that appeal to everybody. And what we're learning about Gen Alpha, even though they're not in the workforce yet, they're going to be like one of the most um, like values driven generations we've ever seen. Like very driven to have an impact, and I say this because it's what your kids are, I think, at their ages. Right,
yeah.
like very driven to have an impact, very driven by like meaning and purpose, and just a different mentality than what we're used to. And I think it's really cool. And like I said, I think it's part of just being raised by a more conscious set of parents or single parents or generation of parents like that are reminding them, hey, it's not just about you, right? The world is not just about you, and there's ways to talk to people, and you need to think about your impact on like the environment and on people around you and on like everything. It's like a really cool shift, and I don't know how we started talking about this, but it's something that is very exciting to me. Is just
Yeah.
seeing a shift in humanity overall, because that's my obsession when I love talking to people. I just like talking about people's experiences and how we all affect each other. And I don't know. Also, I've seen your kids and they're fucking cool. So I will confirm that you're raising cool little humans there. We call them the mini figs. If you hear me call them the mini figs, that's what we call kids. They're kids.
It's I'm also trying really hard to make sure that they know like that that they're like valued as humans and stuff. And I think that's something else that like a lot of people like even just our age didn't really get as kids, especially younger kids, is like we didn't have that autonomy to be like respected as our own people. And so like we swung so far like once we got to like teen, at least for me when I got to like the teen, like being a teenager and stuff, it swung so far to the like rebellion side because I had been like under a sense of control for so long because like as you're a kid, like when you're a kid, it's there's this expectation that you just kind of shut up and follow along and whatever, and it's like you don't get a voice, and then you just as soon as you have it like even it's just an inch and you're like hitting that kind of teenage years and you just fucking rocket into the complete other side of the spectrum, and that doesn't really end well for anybody. Like at least for me, it really I fucked up my relationship with my mom for a really long time. Um, and I got into trouble with like the law and shit, and I really fucked up a lot of stuff when that happened. So now I'm trying to like find the balance with like making sure that they know that they have a voice and like they're allowed to even with just like little things with like wearing what they want or like doing their hair how they want and like all that kind of stuff because it's just like the little things that teach them that like I'm hearing you and I respect your wants and your needs as like as a human, and I don't know, it's honestly it's weird because so many people see that and they're like, but they're your kids, like why are you letting them do that? And I'm just like, because they're people. Like I respect them because they're people. Like what and I like I don't know what I don't know what you mean.
That concept of like mutual respect, I think, is new, right? It's not just like respect me because I'm your parent. It's also like I
Yeah.
respect you because really, like, if they're not hurting anybody or themselves,
Yeah.
right? What is it doing if they don't brush their hair for a day or they want to wear a mismatched outfit or you know what I
Right.
mean? It's just I didn't get in any trouble till like my decisions caught up with me when I was older, but like I swung the opposite in that I just wanted to be an adult so badly. Like I could not wait to get my working papers at 15, and the day that I had them, I had a job. And like I moved out at 18, and that's a whole story in and of itself, and I never went home and I was like, "Ah, I'm going to be married by 25." So I made sure to get married by 23, and then I was like all of a sudden living this whole married adult life and I was like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Like this isn't what I wanted to do. And again, that's a whole story in and of itself. But then it's like, but I don't know. I don't even know that I mean, I have like a good relationship with my mom growing up. My dad has always been on and off. My mom had me when she was 19, so like she was still a kid. The whole thing was just weird. But the concept of again them being kids being whole people like early on, and that's why I don't want them because I don't want that responsibility because I wouldn't do well with that. Like I'm over here drinking this smoothie because I made it at 9 a.m. and it's nearly 1 p.m. and I haven't been able to make it through my whole breakfast yet.
Yeah.
I'm just always like, let me be the cool, fun aunt to everybody's kids, and just let me make sure that me and the dogs eat every day. That's like where my life is.
No, that's I mean that's respectable because there's so many people that like end up in the position where they like never saw themselves or like didn't want to be, and then it becomes a problem for everybody that's involved, whereas like you know what you want and what you don't want and what you're capable of handling, and you're just fucking sticking to that. And I have so much respect for that because there's I don't know, it's underrated or undervalued to just genuinely know who you are and what you want out of life, especially if that shifts between when you're like early 20s and then, in your 30s and like further on and whatever. Like, it's, I don't know. I have a
I,
lot of respect for that. Like,
you know what? I will give my mom credit. She was the first person to like give me permission to not want kids. Because when I
yeah,
got married, after like a couple months of being married, I mentioned like that we were gonna like maybe try to have a kid, and she was like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" And she's like, I just didn't think you wanted them. You never struck me as someone that wanted them." And I was like, "Huh, that's that's interesting. I never thought about being allowed to not want them." And then that
yeah,
just kind of spiraled from there. And after the lady said it to me at the restaurant the other day, she walked out, and there's a kid that works with us. His name is Mike. He's a sweet kid. He's like 17, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't want kids either." And I was like, good. I was like, and you know what? You'll say that, and nobody will ever tell you that you will change your mind because you're a man, and no one is
yeah,
conditioned to tell you that your mind will change because of your biological clock. Like, and everybody thinks I'm so much younger than I am. So they're like, you have lots of time. I'm like, I literally don't have any time left to have kids, and it wouldn't matter if I did, but you're making an assumption and it's wrong.
yeah.
Two assumptions, both are wrong. Trust me, I'm good to kids, but they're not mine. You're my kid, right? He heard your can open and he opened his eyes and he saw I didn't get anything, so he closed them again. I don't know why. You don't even get anything out of cans. I do have full conversations with these dogs. Like full. You would think
Yeah.
that would concern me.
I talk to my cats a little bit more. It's like sometimes Lucifer will come and like sit on my lap while I'm like streaming or something, and there won't be anybody like in my chat or like watching my stream, so I'll just like talk to him about the game that I'm playing, and like and then he'll fall asleep, and I'm just like I'm gonna keep talking to you because like it's whatever, it's fine. It's
I know. I always get your streaming notifications either while I'm at the restaurant or like I don't know when. I feel like that's the only time I see them. My Twitch notifications don't always go off though, which is super annoying.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of weird, and like I don't know. I know I stream at like a really weird time anyway, and like with all the time zones, different time zones of like the people who do follow me, it's like I don't know. And like I honestly I don't do it to get followers or anything. Like I honestly was mostly just hoping to like find other people that play games and like maybe make friends to play with. Like I don't want to be one of those people that's like, you know, I can quit my job and like buy a house with like my streaming income or anything. Like it's literally just I'm just sitting here playing games because I like playing games. Like um
Cool. I miss games, but I didn't play any of the cool games that there are now. Like I like would just love to like just play Super Mario 3 forever.
yeah.
Forever. That just that game. Or the one that was on Super Nintendo too. What was that? Super Mario World. Those were like my two favorite games.
Yeah.
And I
I
used to
actually I didn't grow up with the Nintendo.
I love
So
them.
I feel so out of it every time somebody talks about that stuff. Like I was very much a PlayStation kid. Um
I had like the Nintendo I had the most games for because I went from like super like regular Nintendo to Super Nintendo, but then I also had like the Sega Genesis and I had the PlayStation. So then I had so many that I
yeah.
would have like two games for each and just never get new games. So like PlayStation was always Crash Bandicoot and then Sega was always Sonic. And then I can just do the same thing over and over. Like I can eat the same thing over and over. I can play the same game over and over. I think I beat the Aladdin game like 47 times on Nintendo because I would just keep playing. But it was still fun. That's why I could just sit down and play the same games over and over still if I had it. It
Yeah.
would be way less productive, for sure. Still want to buy one though.
That's why I feel like I have too much like too many choices now. Because I got the Game Pass for my Xbox. I finally got my Xbox hooked up to my computer.
Hmm.
And when I got my Xbox, I literally only had Elden Ring because like that's like I got like a gift card or something. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy an Xbox and get Elden Ring. And then I didn't play it for months because I'm like I actually really don't like this game. It's too hard and it's not fun. Because like I like to play games that are like you know they challenge me, but they're not so hard that it's not enjoyable to play it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how Elden Ring was. But I also didn't play any of the other like Souls games leading up to it, so I wasn't even remotely prepared for the level of hard that game
Dive
was.
right in at level expert.
Yeah. Like even on like the easiest fucking difficulty, I'm just like I'm not cut out for this. I'm gonna go back to playing Zelda.
Not
I'm
my
just gonna
jam.
fucking run around and change my outfits. You know, it is what it is. um, but like now I've gotten some more games, and like Jason was actually talking shit the other night. Not like not like talking shit. But he was like questioning because he saw that I was playing Hollow Knight. And like I downloaded it on my access because my little brother plays it, and he says it's really cool and stuff. And my little brother just turned 11, so I was just like, oh okay, so this you know it's just a platformer game. It's probably really chill, whatever.
No.
That game is fucking hard. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so when he had asked me about it, like he's literally just like, you're playing Hollow Knight? And I'm just like, yes, like why? And then he didn't respond, and so like I played it for a good hour and a half before I'm just like, you know what? I'm fucking tired. I have to work in the morning. I'm just we're good for the night. And I messaged him back and I'm just like, why the fuck is this so hard? And he's like, the game is like notoriously famous for being very difficult. And I'm like, well, nobody told me.
Nobody
So
warned me. This is the second time I've done this to myself now.
yeah. I'm like, literally the only context that I have of the game is that it looks really fucking cool. It's got a really good soundtrack, and my little brother really likes it.
That's fine.
And then, yeah, and so I'm like, I'll just give it a shot, whatever. And he's like, you're not gonna like this, but your little brother is like peak gamer age right now. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, but like, still, I mean, like, I understand he's like homeschooled, whatever. He's got all the time in the world to just be really good at playing games, and I respect that, you know. But I'm still absolutely determined to beat it because like I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna kill it just because I
Just
you
'cause
know
you were told
that's
you
who
can't.
that's who I am.
You were told maybe
I'm
you
a,
can't.
I'm very stubborn. And like there's other stuff where I've had like people are just like, oh, this is the hardest boss in the game or whatever. Like but I heard that so much with like when Breath of the Wild came out. And my first run through, because it's got like 4 mini bosses before like the main big boss, and I had beat 2 of them, like the mini bosses,
Mhm.
before I accidentally ended up like in the fight scene with like the main beat the game boss, and I beat him on the first try. So I was like, oh, okay. So like I'm very, I know I can do it if I'm just
Climactic.
if I'm determined enough. I can beat the hard stuff. I wasn't prepared for that. So you know,
A
but
couple, like a couple. It's so funny because I'm thinking about watching you play. A couple like before I was started like watching more streaming. I was like doom scroller on TikTok, and I would get stuck on the lives where people would try to do like the time challenges with the old
oh
games that I
fuck,
played, and I'd like all of a sudden because I'm an insomniac, so like all of a sudden when I can't sleep, I'm like, oh, I've now watched this stranger play Super Mario Brothers for the last 45 minutes of my life.
yeah, dude,
And then
speedruns are
I'm like,
insane.
And then I was like, oh, this is why Twitch exists. Because there's people like me that will just sit and watch. And now that's like, I like the background noise. Like, I've got streamers that I just turn on for background noise.
Yeah,
And I've always got multiple types of background noise. Like, I had to turn it all off for this. But usually I've got, like, TV and music, or, like, music and a streamer. Like, I don't know why, but it makes me more productive to, like, hear tons of different noise, which I know is strange, but I don't care, to be honest.
oh no, I think I love watching people like stream and stuff while I'm not like actively watching, but just like having somebody there talking. It's almost like body doubling.
Yeah, yeah,
I fucking love body doubling. Like I got so much shit done on that 2 hour phone call with PP the other night or the other day. Like, and I didn't even realize till we were like at the end of the call that we had been on there for 2 hours because I got like what would normally be like probably like 5 hours by myself done in that amount of time just because we were just sitting there shooting this shit the whole time and like so like having a streamer there just like talking even if I'm not interacting in the chat or whatever is it's so much easier to get shit done.
I will cook. I like that's when I'll cook with them on. When Lauren and I used to work together in our day jobs, we would be like, if we had to do projects, we would like ping each other on Teams and be like, we would call it productive time or productivity time, and it's literally we would just get on a call and talk to each other while we were doing work. And sometimes we would invite other people, and then they'd come on and they'd be like, "No, I have to go. I don't know what you guys are doing. I thought that we were just all quietly working together." And I'm like, "Why would we do just? Why
No.
would you do that alone? Like, obviously, we're not quietly working together." So even now, like when we have to do a bunch of stuff around the house, I'll text her and I'll be like, "Hey, productive call Friday at whatever time," and I'll just like clean my whole house and she'll cook. It's so weird. It's it's not weird actually. It's become very normal, but it used to feel weird. And then I met all these other people that needed it, and my friend, who's a therapist, was like, "It's called body doubling, Jen. It has a name. You have
Yeah.
ADHD." And I'm like, "I have ADHD." She's like, "You definitely have ADHD. What is this?" Sorry, my phone's making noise. Oh, I know what it is. This is an alert test from my day job. They have like an emergency alert system. They're literally testing it at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's like, yeah, of course you have ADHD. She's like, and it's called body doubling, and it's a good tool. Keep doing it. I'm like, thank you for validating me.
Yeah.
I appreciate that so much.
That was actually we had a moment like that on the call because like that was like I think it was like the day after where PP was like talking about how Fingers was saying that she probably has some level of like ADD or ADHD or you know whatever, and so like we literally had like that conversation because like I think that something got brought up from that conversation in the chat, and I was just like you realize what we're doing right now is literally like it's a tool that a lot of people with ADHD or like you know autism or whatever will use to help them like because that's why I was like let's go because I literally spent most of my day sitting here. I barely folded one thing of laundry, and then as soon as we were on the call I was like let's fucking go and and I'm like this is all I need you know like on my days to get shit done like I would thrive so much harder if I could like regularly talk to somebody like that. Like, and
I
they were
will.
just like, "Oh, you know, I'm really starting to. I think the more I talk to you guys who know that you have some level of this, the more I realize that like maybe it's probably true. I'm just like, yeah, it's
Listen, it's a spectrum. Even if you just have like a tinge, like
yeah,
just a pinch, it like I will bribe people with wine because I have so much wine at my house because I don't drink alone, but I belong to all these wine clubs. So I'm like constantly picking up wine that just goes. When I tell you I've got probably 5 cases of wine here that just sits here. So I'm like, hey, can you like I have like a neighbor named Mary or like my friend Victoria. I'm like, hey, I've got wine. Will you come over and drink it with me so I can mop my floor because I just need to mop the floor so bad.
yeah,
And so they'll like come over and drink wine. And then if they don't, I don't want the floor. Just kidding. So,
I do that with weed. Actually, I'm just like, hey, I rolled a joint. We just come sit on my couch and like watch TV while I like vacuum and stuff. Like you don't even have to talk to me. Just sit there and just smoke with me a little bit, and we'll, you know,
let me talk at you, even if you don't want to talk to me, because I
yeah.
will.
Like you don't even have to respond. I'll just yap. It's good.
It's just productive if we lived closer together.
Oh my god, fucking unstoppable. Honestly, Jesus, it's.
When we live in our mansion with our tentacle doorknobs. Super weird.
I'm gonna be real. I wasn't even looking for those when I found those. Like I got a notification, or like I opened Facebook for something, and it was like the little marketplace thing had like some notifications, and I was just like, oh, we're just gonna clear this because I hate having any active notifications on my phone. So I was just trying to clear it, and I opened it up, and literally the first fucking listing was those, and I was just like, oh, chat's gonna love this.
Tentacle doorknob.
Which, to be fair, they're actually really cool looking.
They're actually, I do like them. That's when I was. I think you guys convinced me that the tattoo is going to end in a jellyfish. By the way,
Oh hell yeah!
Sick, like really colorful man o' war to go with my mermaid, who has never been named, whose name is not Hope. I can't show it to anybody.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm looking, right? I feel like we've been chatting for like 45 minutes. Should we
Yeah.
like wrap it up?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll
We
talk
can call
for
it here.
3 hours, I think. This
Yeah,
is, I think, our
for
thing
sure.
is gonna have to be that we're gonna have to look at time and know how long we're
Yeah.
talking for. Especially if we start recording at night and I do have a glass of wine or,
Yeah.
edible. But this is really fun. So I'm like looking at our topics. So in case anybody's curious about the kind of things that we might talk about, and you can, you know what? I'm going to let you introduce the jar. But
Yeah.
some of the topic ideas we're about, like, we might talk about like work, some witchy shit, some relationship stuff, travel. Biggs and I are both planning a big move, ironically, hopefully to the same place, which we will talk about, which is really funny because I was like, hey, I want to move to this place. And you were like, me too. I have like a 3-year plan. And I was like, I have no fucking plan. I thought I might go next month. Like, we'll probably talk about stuff like, we're pretty sex positive, so there'll probably be some kinky stuff and some sex work conversation and astrology and music, and I'm just rambling, but lots of different stuff. So then, I guess it's a good time for us to talk about the jar.
Yeah. So I'm gonna once I get everything uploaded, we're gonna have some links for our other socials in there. So if you want to like DM us or send us an email or whatever, we'll, if you want to ask us stupid questions, or you got some really hard questions, or you need advice, or just literally want to hear us yap about random shit, you just shoot us a little message and we'll throw it in the jar. I'm literally going to have a giant jar, and I'm just going to write all of the suggestions down and just, reach in at random and go from there. We'll probably do like a little speed round on it or something, which probably will end up not being a speed round because,
For us.
that's who we are. But yeah, so I'll make sure to put the links for all of our other socials and shit. So you know where to find us, know where to message us and all that. But yeah, hopefully this was a good introduction to us.
Listen, it's
I had a great time.
It's a flavor. It's the flavor.
Yeah.
You know if this is the people. We'll only attract our people with this.
I don't know. Hey, maybe we'll help people realize that they, are also our flavor of freak
We will.
in the best of ways.
It'll be really funny once we're like 20 episodes in to re-listen to the beginning of this, because it definitely took like a couple minutes to get into a flow, and then it was awesome. But
Yeah.
I can't wait to like be 20 episodes in and be like, hey, listen to that first episode. Look how good we are. I love it.
I'm just never gonna look back. Once we're past it, we're just moving forward. That's...
Oh no, I look back. Come on, you know me. I look back at everything all the time. I'm like in my Facebook memories, like, what was I doing this time last year, and how do I feel about that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. So we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah. We don't have a sign off yet. It's fine.
Yeah, no, we're good.
We'll get something cool. We need taglines.